Sometimes the excitement of an upcoming release isn't just about what's coming, it's about what's missing. As we gear up for 4.0, some big features we've all been looking forward to, like engineering gameplay, life support, fire propagation, and the transit refactor, aren't making it into the next patch. And yes, I'm disappointed too, but here's the thing. 4.0 was never solely about these extra features. The core of this patch has always been about laying a foundation, server meshing, Pyro, jump points, and a reworked mission system. In today's video, I'll break down what these changes mean, what we're still getting with 4.0, and my thoughts on other features we might see down the road. And as always, I'll be sharing my perspective on what's coming after 4.0. Features like Nyx, base building, and the specialized gear that we've been waiting for. So let's dive right in. First off, let's talk about these missing features. Engineering gameplay, life support, and fire propagation were shaping up to be some of the most immersive mechanics Star Citizen has ever seen. And then there's the transit refactor, which is another big disappointment to see delayed. This refactor is supposed to fix a lot of the issues players have with trams, elevators, and other in-game transit systems. The lack of the transit refactor could mean that we're still dealing with janky trams and elevators, which is undoubtedly a frustrating experience that many of us really want to avoid. By reworking how these systems function, the transit refactor could have made travel between locations feel a lot smoother, especially for players moving quickly through busy hubs or missions that require multiple stops. The absence of this refactor and other features means that we'll still be dealing with some clunky transit and gameplay mechanics a little while longer, which I know isn't ideal. But the thing is, it's kind of crazy to me that if CIG doesn't focus on providing a stable experience, people are frustrated, understandably, because everybody wants a smoother gameplay. But if they delay new features to focus on that stability, people get equally upset, saying that there aren't enough gameplay updates to keep things interesting. CIG really has to strike a fine balance here, and it often feels like no matter what choice they make, there's always going to be pushback. I get the frustration from both sides. We all want new features, but at the same time, if the game can't run well with more players in a server, then none of these features will matter in the long run. Stability has to be the foundation. Server meshing in particular is likely the technology that could finally give us that smooth, large-scale experience that we're all hoping for. So while it's tough to see these features delayed, I believe that CIG is making the right call by prioritizing server meshing and 4.0's stability. It's a necessary step. The foundational technology has to come first so that down the line, all these incredible gameplay elements can actually shine in a stable, immersive universe. In the long run, this approach is what will make Star Citizen not just playable, but something extraordinary. And if you're enjoying the content so far and want to stay up to date with all the latest Star Citizen news, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me continue to bring you these in-depth updates, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. But let's keep going. Now, despite the disappointment, I want to emphasize that the core of 4.0 is still intact, and that's crucial. Server meshing, Pyro, jump points, and a mission refactor may not be as flashy as fire propagation or life support, but they're essential to making Star Citizen function at a larger scale. So let's unpack each one to understand why they matter. Server meshing has been one of the most transformative technologies Star Citizen has been working toward, with the potential to improve stability across the entire game. Instead of one server handling all of the activity in a single system, multiple servers will share the workload dynamically. This means each server is less strained, allowing for smoother gameplay and a more stable experience overall. It also means that the AI operates exactly as it's intended to. One of the biggest benefits of server meshing is how it could make a real difference during high traffic events like IAE and Invictus. These events often draw huge numbers of players to specific locations, leading to lag and performance issues. With server meshing, these crowded areas could be handled by multiple servers or even their own server, working together and allowing CIG to balance the load more effectively. If implemented well, server meshing could make these events feel smoother with less waiting, less lag, and an overall better showcase of Star Citizen's world. Server meshing could also transform dynamic events like Xenothreat and Siege of Orison, which currently face issues like desync, server crashes, and poor AI performance as players converge on specific locations. Imagine Xenothreat with server meshing. Multiple servers could manage the event, leading to a more cohesive experience where players can focus on the action without technical interruptions. Now, one singular area being run by multiple servers is more or less dynamic server meshing. But even with a singular server being dedicated to Xenothreat and other servers being dedicated to landing zones, this means performance would be much better than what we have currently. The Siege of Orison 2 could run more fluidly, with server meshing enabling players to fully engage with the large-scale conflict across multiple platforms without the performance drops that we've seen in the past. As CIG fine-tunes server configurations, we could see a stable, more immersive experience that supports an expanding player base without sacrificing performance. Server meshing is the technology that can make Star Citizen feel like the true MMO that it was designed to be, giving players a seamless connected world without the technical barriers that we currently face. Then we have Pyro and jump points. Now, Pyro isn't just another Red Stanton to me. It's an entirely new environment, one that's much more harsh and less forgiving than Stanton. Pyro is teeming with danger, with lawless outposts and hostile factions waiting around every corner. And of course, getting to Pyro means navigating jump points, our first taste of moving between systems. While jump points might sound straightforward, they're a technical marvel, requiring seamless real-time shifts between server spaces. Together, Pyro and new jump points add not only new territory to explore, but also new risks and rewards, which will keep things fresh for both new players and veterans. Lastly, there's the mission refactor. This isn't just an overhaul of existing missions. It's a foundational upgrade designed to make missions work seamlessly with server meshing, enabling them to scale across a larger universe and connect broader systems. By syncing mission logic with the dynamic nature of server meshing, CIG is creating a more stable and flexible framework that can support complex layered missions. This will help the various missions inside of the game operate more reliably and cause fewer issues for players. In essence, this mission refactor isn't about adding new missions. It's about updating the back end of the legacy mission system to allow it to work with server meshing more reliably. This could be what Star Citizen needs to make missions more reliable and stable, making our experience so much better than what we currently have. Alright, so what's next after 4.0? If we look a bit further ahead, there are some hidden features and updates that I think we could realistically see in the next year. For starters, I really hope we'll see updates to quantum travel and quantum boost mechanics. These features could completely change the way we get around, potentially reducing travel times and making it easier to explore points of interest on planets. Paired with improvements to ship scanning and radar systems, including FPS scanning, this could make exploration a more fluid and engaging experience. Then there's the possibility of new ships and further refinements to the flight model. CIG has been making strides in tweaking the flight experience, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more updates to things like maneuverability, control surfaces, and how different ships handle in various environments. Plus, ship weapon performance updates and wear and tear mechanics could bring even more realism to ship management and FPS combat. Imagine having to resolve weapon jams and malfunctions in FPS, and systems to keep them in peak condition, adding a new layer of strategy for FPS players. And honestly, with the way CIG operates lately, there's likely a lot more they could sneak in without any official announcement. We know from past patches that they sometimes hold back smaller changes from the roadmap or patch notes. So it's very possible that we'll see other quality of life improvements and hidden features once 4.0 drops. I have to admit that the element of surprise keeps things interesting. Finding those unexpected upgrades and optimizations can really make an update feel even bigger. But now let's zoom out and take a look at the larger picture. What could Star Citizen look like after 4.0? We all wanted 2024 to be a watershed year, and unfortunately they didn't pan out quite as we'd hoped. But 2025 has the potential to be a more monumental year than the last, if certain features fall into place. Nyx is one of the biggest things that I expect to see. With the amount of work that's already gone into the system, I'd honestly be surprised if we don't get Nyx within the next 6 to 12 months. Imagine jumping into a fresh star system with all new points of interest, a unique setting, and maybe even more complex challenges. It would add a whole new layer of exploration and depth, especially for players who have been roaming Stanton for years. Then there's base building. This one might be further out, likely another year or so, but it's something I think we'll eventually see. Base building could redefine player experience, allowing us to establish and defend our own outposts. But considering the complexity of this feature, CIG will want to take their time to make sure it's done right. When it arrives though, it could be a game changer for both solo players and organizations. Finally, specialized gear. This is something we've been waiting on for a long time, and I believe it could make a huge difference in how players approach different roles. Imagine equipment tailored for combat, salvage, mining, or cargo hauling. Gear that gives players unique advantages in their chosen fields. Truthfully, CIG could start implementing this with the gear that we already have, by adding stats and bonuses that support specific playstyles. But who knows, maybe next year we'll see the beginning of this shift towards a more specialized, role-based experience in the verse. There's also other things like Maelstrom, Global Illumination, the multi-threading part of Vulcan, and various other systems that will add substantially more depth and believability to the verse. So to wrap it all up, while we're not getting everything that we wanted in 4.0, the patch is still a crucial step in the journey. Server meshing, Pyro, jump points, and a reworked mission system, these features lay the groundwork for a more connected and more stable universe. And even though features like engineering, life support, fire propagation, and the transit refactor will take a bit longer, it's clear that CIG is setting us up for bigger and better things down the road. The bottom line, 4.0 is about moving forward, laying the foundation for everything that's still to come. And with the potential for nicks, base building, specialized gear, and all of those hidden features that we've discussed, the feature is looking promising, even if we have to wait a little longer. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are you most excited for in 4.0? What feature are you most disappointed to see delayed? Let me know in the comments below. I make it a point to read and respond to as many comments as I can, and I'm genuinely curious about what you all think. This is our journey together in the verse, and I value each of your perspectives on where Star Citizen is headed. And if you find value in these updates and want to go even further in supporting the channel, consider joining as a member. Members get access to exclusive Discord channels, early video previews, and a few other perks that help bring you closer to the action. And don't forget, we're still running the giveaway for 2 Drake Cutter starter packages, so check out the link in the description to find out how to enter. And before I sign off, if you're interested in where Star Citizen's world building tools could take us, I'd highly recommend checking out my last video on the Genesis tool. Genesis is CIG's new tech for creating more believable worlds, and once it's fully utilized, it could transform both new and old systems alike. Imagine Stanton's planets being revitalized with updated landscapes and features that breathe fresh life into familiar locations. It's an exciting glimpse into what's possible, so make sure to give that video a watch. Thanks for watching. Fly safe, pilots, and I'll see you in the verse. Havoc out.